Alright everybody, and welcome to another episode of Would I Buy? Basically, it's the show where I play some of the latest demos, sort of describe some of the experience that I had with it, make a decision from that about whether I would buy the game myself, whether I would wait for a sale, or whether I'd leave it well alone. Of course, then after that, I try and encourage some conversation and ask if you've played the demo yourself and ask you to put forward your thoughts and your own experiences and basically whether you would buy the game yourself or whether you'd leave it alone or wait for a sale. And in this one we are looking at Commandos 3, and I have no idea how old this game actually is, but obviously with it being a HD remaster, I presume it's pretty old. And when it came to playing it, I'll tell you one thing that I did learn when playing it. I am really bad at following instructions. I mean, when it came to, I suppose when it come to it, just literally it has your tutorial. Obviously this demo I think is like the basic tutorial and the advanced tutorial, so it's sort of like two very small missions, so it's probably a very small portion of the actual game. And when it came to following it, I was really rubbish at following it. I was trying to get used to it myself, just the controls and how to move the characters, and yeah, it took a lot of getting used to. It tried to tell you what to do, but for some reason I just wasn't taking in the instructions whatsoever, so that's the one thing I kind of just learned from that. And when it came to controlling the camera, because obviously I presume this will have been a point and click game on the PC, whereas it will have been adapted for consoles and controllers. Likewise, I was playing this on the Switch, and I was trying to get used to it. It was very strange, and I think the main thing, I love the fact that you can control the character, and I think that was the best thing that they could have done over a point and click thing, because there are a lot of games where when they port it over, they just leave the cursor, and I just do not get why, because it would have been perfect to control the character. Now, I have no problems with that. One thing I did struggle to get used to was the camera itself, as naturally moving the control stick, the right thumbstick, it moves the camera around the map, and likewise you have to hold down the R button to actually be able to sort of properly pan it around, like zoom in and zoom out. And at first I was like thinking, gosh, I don't know if I can get used to this, and I spent a while looking in the options to see if there was a way to swap this around. However, I will say that the moment I actually exited the main part, like the 3D space, I kind of realised actually, yeah, I can see why they went with that decision, as obviously to move around the map, you know, it came a lot more naturally with the way that it was set out. So it is a bit of a learning curve, and I think if you were to play it enough, I think you'd get used to it. I don't really have any real concerns with the controllers. I did at first, but I think it's a learning curve, so no real worries over that. I like the atmosphere of the game. I think it still catches that. I think it's still set in like World War times. And which is weird, because when I looked at the box art of it, I kind of thought, is it going to be doing like a Command and Conquering kind of a future thing? But no, it still kind of seems to be the essence of World War II. Well, I like that. I'm happy with that. And when it came to doing the second mission, I was able to obviously control and switch between characters fine as flair. Yeah, I was just really bad at this. Even the tutorials here were very challenging. And I'll be honest, I am rubbish. I was rubbish at this game. The amount of times I had to reload and everything like that because I'd made silly little mistakes and stuff. I was not very good at this game. I struggled. But yeah, even more so, which is even worse because it was telling me what to do and I just for some reason weren't taking it in, and I was still making silly mistakes. And all I can say when I was playing it, now I have obviously since played like, was it Shogun Tactics and was it Desperados 3, and I loved the strategy of those games. You had full control over them as well, and likewise you had control over the camera and everything like that, and I got into that. It was difficult, but I really enjoyed that. When it came to Commandos 3, it's, I can only presume, I don't, like I say, I do not know when this game were actually released, but I can presume that it was released quite a while before these type of games. And I think it kind of does show in terms of the gameplay of it. It's very much the old school type of strategy game where it is very challenging and it does take a lot of getting used to, but it's quite a lot of, you know, getting used to switching between the characters and everything like this. Whereas I don't know why, but when it comes to like Desperados 3 and stuff, they somehow made it a bit more streamlined, it a little bit more as it captures it. And yeah, I did kind of struggle with Commandos 3. Now, although that does make it sound like I'm being really critical and really, what's the word? I am being really negative about it. I can say that even though I actually struggle with the controls and everything like that, I actually still kind of enjoyed this game. And as rubbish as I am with it, like I said, I've never really worried too much about the story in these. I've never really bothered or following the mission and stuff like that. I'm just usually play the mission, beat the mission, go on to the next one. It's sort of it's a casual pick up and play one for me. But I'll be lying if I actually didn't say I kind of enjoyed it. Even though as frustrating as I were, there were certain times, well, even on the advanced part where, I don't know, the camera, I couldn't get the camera quite right when I went inside the building, and it was kind of awkward to see. Although it has its flaws there, and those parts are frustrating, I don't know how much they actually appear in the rest of the game, how often they actually occur. But I would be lying if I said that I didn't actually enjoy it and that by the end of it, I kind of would have been intrigued on playing some more. And then when I look at the price of the game, I think it's actually quite reasonable. Now, bearing in mind I have not played a Commandos game in a long time. I think there was Commandos 2 that I played, and I didn't do the best in that either, to be honest. But I would say, because it's a HD remaster, I think the pricing does reflect that. And I think, to be honest, for that price, I would actually say it's quite reasonable. If you have played it before and everything, well, I can only say that, well, if you were to play the demo and you got used to the controls, you probably know straight away whether it's something you'd want to buy again on the Switch or not. As for me, that I have never played it before on any of the other consoles, or should I say on the PC, which I presume it was on before, I actually kind of don't mind the price, and I probably would actually buy the game. As flawed as it is, and even though it seems to be very old school in terms of its challenge, and even as rubbish as I am, I actually probably would still buy the game. You know, I did really enjoy my time with it. I think a lot of the mistakes that
Move it!
Let's go.
I'm here, sir.